Alright, Lantis, so one of the newest characters releasing in a surprise summons, the $100 million celebration. We have a new second Atapa Aaroniero, and also finally a full holo or VASTO LORDE ICHIGO, wherever you want to call him, in Brave Souls. After many years, the character has been officially renewed in a character that I'm actually very happy to have, very fortunate to have him too. So breaking down this character, what makes him actually good? Well, for starters, he is a speed Soripa holo, and important to note because we are getting a new Senkamon update where there will be a dedicated tower for holo characters in particular, and that might be one of the rarer affiliations in the game. Furthermore, given that he is a Soripa in the context of guild quests, he is actually able to get buffs from characters like Tenjiro, as Tenjiro does buff Soripas. One thing important to understand about this character is that he is going to be a guild quest unit. For the most part, you can take him outside of guild quests and use him wherever you want to, maybe with the exception of Limit Breaker quests. So while it is a tad bit unfortunate he does have guild quest specific abilities, other than Limit Breaker, I feel like you can still have a lot of fun with this character, especially given that he is a spiritual pressure unit. The previous two full holo characters in the game are both mind normal attack damage units, and let's be honest, when it comes to the overarching game, a lot of us do prefer spiritual pressure units to manually play with, so it's great finally having that in Brave Souls, especially in a cool unit like this. With that said though, the character itself does have a Squad 0 Killer Plus, so you are going to want to use him in the Squad 0 Killer guild quests. His soul trait is actually quite a good one, offering 12% recharge and also 30% more damage to weakened enemies. Having a look at the character skill set, in terms of damage output, he does have Frenzy plus 2, which gets increased to Frenzy plus 3 in guild quest content. He has more range damage, more killer effect, and when you do inflict a status summon, which he does have an increased chance to do against Soripas, you do get yourself an 80% spiritual pressure boost. One thing that he is noticeably missing here is the fact that he doesn't have any Berserker strong attack damage increased. It does say 35% here, but that is due to my accessories I am using. This has kind of been an ongoing trend for mid-month characters to not be given any Berserker, and it definitely does hinder the character more outside of guild quests, but I still think it's kind of fine for the most part, especially because when you are up against Soripas, you are going to have that increased status summon chance to inflict weakening, where you are then doing 80% more damage. He also does have an EX skill, one of the few mid-month characters in the game to be given that, where it's going to be an additional AoE forward, able to do some pretty good damage. Now, in a way, one of the special parts about this character is the soul bomb damage, as he does have a debuff with weakened defense and also weakening. Now, the debuff is going to let you do basically 80% more damage. The weakening lets you do 50% more damage, and then with the weakened defense, you're then doing 30% more damage. So in guild quest content and epic raids, his summon is going to hit very hard, and then allow you to do significantly more damage once you do let off that soul bomb. In all honesty, I like the skills that he was given. I think overall though, there's one wasted skill here, that being Diminisher. Diminisher extends the duration of the debuff effects, and given all the stuff that he has going for his soul bomb, most likely, if any enemy is left alive, you are then going to kill in one attack. So there's honestly no need for having that duration of the debuff extended, because no enemy will last long enough. If there's one thing I would have changed with this character, honestly, it's changed the Diminisher for strong attack damage. If he had that, he'd honestly be a lot better than he is now, but overall he's still a good unit. In terms of how you are going to build this character, we'll keep it fairly simple. A Lieutenant's Badge, Fortification Film, and also Artisanal T-Set. This will change when we go into guild quests, so if you are wondering how to build him in guild quests, we will, talk about that during that part of the video. And then for the links, we're using Bambietta, Tenjiro, and also Chad, giving him recharge and also more damage at full stamina. For bonus abilities, go with full stamina and damage to weakened enemies, or full stamina and also spiritual pressure, or full stamina and long stride. We'll likely be changing it throughout the video. For guild quest content, we'll go with full stam damage to weaken. For epic raids, we'll go full stam and weaken defense. And for general play, we'll go full stam and also long strides. Either way, that's the character in a nutshell. Now let's jump into some content. Alright then, so first up, let's try the character in Links or Trials just to get a good feel of the actual character. One good thing that I like, which is kind of weird to see on a character that is kind of designed for guild quests, is that he is, and likewise, it's the same for Aaroniero. They are immune to every status in the game, which I think is kind of cool. Something that we don't see all too often, all too much nowadays. Unfortunately, at least in this particular quest, I don't think there are any Soripas. So that's going to mean we're at our lowest right now. However, maybe we are relatively fine. As long as we get our spiritual pressure boost, we should be good, right? So in terms of strong attacks that he does have, he honestly has a really good strong attack hit. His SA1 is going to be a beam forward. His SA2 is a 960 distant AoE. Really good strong attack too, especially for guild quests. And then his SA3 is a full screen. I like the visuals. It's pretty much him just firing out Ceros, which was expected when we kind of thought we might be getting a ranged full holo Ichigo. But I really like the SA3 as it is the finishing move that he also does do in the Sword Bomb, but also against Okura in the fight, right? Now, even though this is a premium character, it is basically a full holo Ichigo, a normal one, right? But the Sword Bomb, which we can demonstrate right now, it is actually from the Hellverse movie, which I think is really cool. That short, you know, very cinematic intro that we see at the start between him and also Okura. Let's go ahead and sub him once more. Really do like the visuals. I definitely do prefer the original 4th anniversary full holo Ichigo, but I think this one's also pretty good, especially for what it tries to cover, right? And did that sub him all the way through besides the one strong attack we had to use on Uryu? Seems to be the case. So considering that we weren't going up against any, you know, sword enemies, not too bad. In that case, for our very first attempt, we weren't trying to go for the fastest clear time possible. We got a 1 minute and 26 second clear time. Going back into it, let's see how fast we can clear this time. One thing I do need to actually use here is the EX skill. So the EX skill is a 2-hit attack. It's able to do some pretty good damage. I mean, in that case, without kill on, well, it was like 240k per hit. So around 500k damage on that EX skill. Not too bad. It essentially is SA1 again. So it's capable of doing some really good damage and also some really good AoE to it. Maybe I would have preferred if this character had some utility effect on that additional EX skill. Then again, maybe that's been a bit too greedy. I'm not too sure. But, you know, 9th Annie Kenny, granted the anniversary characters, the best EX skills that we have seen in the past is the ones that Senjumaru, Gremi, Ichigo, and also Kenny do have. But then again, they are end-of-year units. They are anniversary units. So maybe having a straightforward, simple damage attack is in line with full holo Ichigo, and also does make sense. So going into this, let's Soul Bomb, and this time we actually nuked all the way through. Again, I think it's important to note, his Soul Bomb actually does hit quite hard. In this case, even though we are up against characters that don't have killer, we don't have an increased status chance, we're still able to clear relatively fast in just 1 minute clear time. Under 1 minute in this case. And this is what I mean, like, I do understand the dissatisfaction when a character like this does get guild quest skills. It would be really fun to take him into Limit Breaker and just deal insane levels of damage. I do get it, and I honestly would have preferred that. However, in the grand scheme of things, at least again outside of Limit Breaker, the character's going to clear relatively fast regardless. But in all honesty, this is just what I wanted from a full holo Ichigo, just a playable spiritual pressure unit, right? His last 2 characters in the last 9 years have both been mind attack-based characters, and, you know, the 4th anniversary full holo, our last full holo Ichigo, you know, let's not even talk about him. A normal attack damage, brave battle unit designed to counter Yachiru Unohana, who at that point was already starting to fade out the meta. So this, in a way, does do the character justice to a certain extent. That probably really depends on whether you like the guild quest skills or not. But at least it's a fun unit. He's got a good strong attack hit, good visuals to boot. I like what I'm playing with here, and he's a very fun and smooth unit to play with too. We've seen in the past multiple times where like a character can be really good, but like their strong attack hits just very awkward. With full holo, that's not the case, unfortunately. We took some damage there, but we're already back up to full stamina. So very easily done. Character's very safe to use to a certain extent. In a way, he's a glass cannon, like most characters in this game are, where he has no way to heal himself back up to full stamina. He doesn't have any full stamina damage abilities, but the way you are going to build him, there's no reliable way to get back up to full stamina. But with the strong attack kit that he does have, even with the EX skill, you should be able to deal non-stop damage. Very rarely are there any openings where you can take damage. So in general content, you should be pretty much fine. If you do take any damage, maybe play a tad bit safer or learn where the enemies are going to spawn in. For the most part though, when it comes to link shot trials, this co-op piece of content, we are able to clear relatively fast in under 1 minute. Next up, let's take him into the Ultra Okura Awakened Epic Raid, where currently right now he is a damage bonus. So we are getting that 3 times damage output. But in general, when it comes to using off bonuses, if you're just trying to clear very fast, this character should be one of the better ones. Especially for the speed attribute, because as I already mentioned, he's one of the few characters in the game to offer weakening with weakened defense and also a soul bomb that can debuff. So after you use that soul bomb, likely you should be able to clear that phase very quickly, and hopefully we can do that in this video if we get some good teammates. In terms of how we're building him for Epic Raid, it's fairly simple. We're using 3 Toshiro pets, giving 60% Berserker and 60% more damage at full stamina. and also the additional 285 spiritual pressure. We're using these 3 accessories, what we used previously, and also these links too. I just want to make sure I can do as much damage as possible. Maybe I should go with recharge, but we are going to go with this for the time being. One notable change that I did make though, again, is changing the bonus ability to now have weakened defense. That way we're doing 30% more damage on what we're already getting from the Soul Bomb. And just to give a solo example of what we are looking at here, if I instantly use the Soul Bomb right away, right? So Soul Bomb into the SA3, we're instantly able to get into the next phase. Going into the second phase, here we go, let's see how much damage you do here. SA3, quite a lot, right? Almost did half of that in just one strong attack, essentially. And if we have other people with us, we should be able to do a lot of damage. A lot more. Hopefully, the idea is that we can finish up with just one strong attack per phase, if everyone does actually use their Soul Bomb. Alright, so we have quite the random assortment of characters, but if everyone uses their Soul Bomb when the phase begins, we should be relatively fine. I'm going to save my Soul Bomb for the second or third phase, in the hopes that some of these lads in this lobby can actually get the first and final phase covered. Because I don't want to use my Soul Bomb on what I know is going to be, you know, a very quick phase regardless. So unfortunately, no one's using their Soul Bomb here, but that's fine. We should get through it relatively quick. My letter is the letter C, so keep that in mind for when the next phase comes in. Here we go. Let me Soul Bomb. Debuff. SA2 goes off into the 1. No one really had strong attacks to fob, unfortunately. They're using their strong attacks. That's good. Or Soul Bombs more so. A lot of damage fall off here, but it's fine. Alright, going into the final phase. If everyone can now use their Soul Bomb, we should be absolutely golden. Not the Aaroniero. Not the Aaroniero, please. Oh no, that's not good. I took damage. Oh no. Okay. I mean, it's never been more over than this. Unfortunately, no healer in the lobby. And I took some damage, so I've lost all my 4 stamina at this point. Not looking too good for us. So right now, at least when it comes to Guild Quest content, I mean, to be fair, it's like that with every character. Once you take damage, especially if you go with a full stamp build, do lose all your DPS. And obviously the same can be said right now. However, I feel like Full Hollow, given his lack of Berserker more so, which to be fair we do kind of make up with the fact that we have some really good pets. But during an epic raid like this that can get very hectic, I think the idea is that you want to clear as fast as possible. So like now they decide to use the Soul Bomb, we could have benefited from that a long time ago. But the hope is really to clear as fast as possible with the Soul Bombs, to the point that you don't really notice the lack of Berserker. I mean, we cleared in like a minute, we'll take it, but Ichigo does have the potential to clear this epic raid in like under 20 seconds. We're going to add an extra message, so hopefully these lads know what to do. So for this lobby, we do have access to 4 Full Hollow Ichigos. However, unfortunately for us, right now, the builds aren't really the greatest. So even if they do use their Soul Bomb, no guarantee we clear this super fast. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. So hopefully some of them use the Soul Bomb right away. I actually got my spiritual pressure boost. We'll take that. Lucky for us, we do have Weakening Plus, which I believe lasts a tad bit longer. Right, I'm letter C. I kind of want to save my SA3 for when I get to use my Soul Bomb. And I probably should save it for the 3rd phase. But I'm not too confident in myself that I'll be able to, you know, actually stay at full stamina. Here we go. Going into the next phase. Let me use my Soul Bomb. Okay, hold on. They're using their Soul Bomb. Lovely. SA3. I mean, I don't have my spiritual pressure boost. So I didn't get too much damage. I'm letter A. Good to know. Very hectic right now. This epic raid can get absolutely crazy. All the summons are going off, though. That's what we want to see. I'll save mine for the next phase. I'm A, right? Hopefully I'm crap. I might have forgot. Okay, I did. Did it right there. I'm trying my absolute hardest to not take any hits here. Lucky we are ranged. We have no wonky strong attacks. When we're forced to take hits, you know. Right, got my spiritual pressure boost. Here we go. This is all me. SA2, look at that. EX attack 2 didn't get both hits off because it does hit twice. But that was a good amount of damage there. If we had other people alive to do attacks too, we would have been golden. Right, dodge that. Forced to take a hit there, unfortunately, but we're near the end, so we're kind of fine. We're kind of fine. Let me set the trap up in the top left. There we go. I'm not going to use my strong attack right now. Okay, I kind of spoke too soon. I used it right there. Right, 1% left. Come on. We got this. There we go. So again, unfortunately, in the short amount of runs, I don't want to spend too much time in epic raids. He has really good potential. Like, if there's anyone that's going to clear epic raids fast besides, like, the really goated units of Brave Souls, Fullbring Ichigo, 920 Kenpachi, and Gremmy, right? Ichigo does have really good potential despite his somewhat low strong attack damage output outside of Guild Quest, and it really does come down to that Sobon, right? He's one of those characters that if you can take advantage of that, you know, very small period where you have the weakened defense, debuff, weakening, etc. Yeah, you really are able to clear in like under 20 seconds. So maybe in certain cases, for like newcomers, for ones that, you know, don't maximize their damage output instantly, maybe the Diminisher actually isn't too bad, because I guess this was an example where the extended debuff duration actually helped us out. Had we been given a full lobby of Ichigos that were well built, we likely wouldn't need that Debilitator. So whether you see the value in the Debilitator skill really comes down to how fast you can clear content. Next up, though, for the main chunk of the video, let's try him out in Guild Quest. So this is the team that we are using today. Shout out to Miz, by the way, for inspiring this run. If you want really good examples of Guild Quest runs, I'd recommend you check him out. But with that said, so first up, we are using Ichigo as our main lead. One notable difference that you are going to see for Guild Quest content, to maximize our damage output, we actually are better off building him with focus instead of spiritual pressure, at least when he's 1-5. The more duplicates of the character you get, of course, the better, and the less need to actually do stuff like this. So with that in mind, we've gone level 12 focus slot. We have full stamina and also, of course, damage to weakened enemies. For the build, we are using a 5-star plus Lieutenant's Badge, a 5-star plus Masanka, and also a 5-star plus Tension Tai. Two of them are buffing our focus by 30%, while the badge is buffing our sports pressure by 30%. The reason why we are going something like this is because we want our Sobom to do a lot more damage, where if we don't have the special move damage increase, you know, we have to use 2 strong attacks after soul bombing to take out that third particular wave. With the Tension Tai, we are doing a tad bit less strong attack damage, but it does mean that on the third wave, we can soul bomb into an EX skill and finish up very quickly. Again, if your character is special level 2, you do not need to do this. For the links, we're going with the exact same thing, what we've been doing the entire video, right? For our second character, we are using Tenjiro. And this is where Ichigo is a tad bit better than someone like Shinji, for example. Because Shinji is a hollow captain, he actually doesn't get the benefits from a character like Tenjiro, where Tenjiro is increasing our stats by 43%, attack and focus more so, but most importantly, letting us do 30% more damage to weakened enemies. With that in mind, we have, of course, gone ahead and used a Mugetsu soul trait to get 20% more strong attack damage, and then our third character is going to be Ikkaku. Now, you can also use Saruchi, and I'm kind of going back and forth between the two, but the reason why I do prefer Ikkaku over Saruchi, despite Saruchi doing more damage, is actually the fact that he does have a debuff, which might let us clear the first wave in one strong attack. For Ikkaku, we're just going with the general normal attack damage build. Fairly simple, right? With that said, let's jump into the quest. So our first game plan is to instantly use our strong attack 3 right in the middle. If Ikkaku can debuff, that's going to be better, because it does allow us to pretty much kill that first wave with one strong attack. SA2 into the 1 is usually enough for someone like Tenjiro, the second boss. Sometimes you are going to get bad runs like this where there's a lot of leftover enemies. But going into this phase, Soul Bomb into the EX takes down the third boss. That's why we are using the Tension time. And then an SA3 into 1. And hopefully some good lucky status procs gets us through the 4th phase. And then into Ichibei, SA2 into the 1 is what we want to do there. Not the perfect example, but that's the general run that we are doing. And if we can get lucky with the status procs, if everything goes right, if Ikkaku actually uses normal attacks against the main boss, we should clear relatively fast. So attack number 2, let's try that again. So again, the debuff does go off. We almost one-shot there. We would if we actually got the status proc right away. SA2 into the 1, Oetu goes down, Ikkaku finishes up that last leftover mob. EX into the Soul Bomb, deals with them. Go into Kiryu, SA3, into the SA1. Fortunately, some leftover mobs. It happens, unfortunately. If we had Berserker, we'd actually be really good here. And then SA1 and 2. Bit of damage there, but we can definitely maximize that a bit better. Attempt number 3. Can we get it a bit better this time? SA3. We actually one-shot the first boss. That's what we need. SA2 into the 1. Ikkaku, please finish up. Not quite fast like we would want him to, but it's fine. Maybe we can make up for the extra levels. Get an extra wave 3, or extra level 3. Wave 3 more so. Really good. It's going well. No status proper. We basically got a 49 there had we actually killed all the mini-mobs. Let's just get that through, though. Just to demonstrate the extra levels, right? Because this time, going forward, there are now 4 extra levels. So, we do make quick work with this. given the fact that we can apply the weakening. And remember, one thing that's noteworthy with this character is that we do have weakening plus, which means the weakening lasts longer compared to any other character that only has normal weakening. If the enemies themselves have like 80% resistance, unfortunately we took some damage there, but it's fine. So because you need like a 180+% resistance to be immune to weakening, it allows weakening plus to last a lot longer when compared to just normal weakening. And you definitely notice that when going into the extra levels. So one of the best parts about Ichigo right now is the fact that you do make very quick work of extra level 1 all the way to 4. Obviously, right now we do have attribute advantage. It will look a bit different if the boss is ever attacked the character, but I think for the most part, he is going to be relatively fine going forward into the future. Right now, after all, he is the best lead for this guild quest phase. So if anything, I mean, we're getting like consistent 46 seconds remaining, right? Like, it's actually not too bad. But we could get a bit faster, though. That's actually really good. You know, like most characters, you just got to get that lucky combo going. Like right now, for example, this is going very well. Damn, hold on. Oh. Okay, like that was perfect, almost. We got 49 seconds. That right now is a personal best for me. The only way that could have been a tad bit faster is if maybe Ikaku cleared the small mobs a bit faster too. And we'll take that. Well, that's what we were mainly going for, 49.50. And this is going to get better over time because this character is premium. You will eventually get dupes because of him. And maybe, to be fair, given the lack of strong attack damage, it is going to get better once we actually unlock the ability to 5-star plus our speedball. Because right now it's giving 20% strong attack damage. That's what we would use other than, you know, a Tenjita right now. And at 5-star, it's 20% range damage. At 5-star plus, it's 32% range damage. So we might actually opt in to use that in the future once that does get its 5-star upgrade, which might be later next month. Hopefully, because that's something ranged characters can't do. But we did get a 49-second clear time while also clearing all 4 extra levels while also taking damage too. So honestly, right now, I'm kind of happy with that score. I might go for 50 in my own time, but let's just keep it going and see what we can get as a consistent score when we aren't trying to reset all too much, right? But like I said, if there was one thing that we could have improved upon with this character is honestly give him strong attack damage in exchange for the diminisher skill. That would have been way better. But I think as of right now, he's honestly fine. It's a bit iffy at certain points. But, you know, when isn't it? With a lot of characters nowadays, to be fair. And to be fair, I also did hear that they maybe increased the HP for these small mobs. So maybe it would have been better had this character released like maybe a month ago, you know. There we go, SA2 into the 1. For the most part, we are one-shotting, two-shotting every boss here. 41 seconds there. Let's try that again. We'll try that again. We'll probably make this our last run. See again what the average score is looking like. You know, we already got a pretty decent score thus far. We can get faster, but we'll take it for now. But yeah, that extra Berserker really would have made a big difference. But at least the Tension Tide lets us clear wave 3 really fast. That's like the really good part about that Sobon damage, right? The weakened defense, the weakening, the debuff. You clear Senjumaru super quick despite being a technique character. We'll do one more run. Why not? We're here, right? We're here. Alright, here we go. SA3. Again, we one-shot. It's really good when you can one-shot there. And that right now is the benefit of using Ikaku over Saruchi. Despite, you know, Saruchi being able to do a lot more damage. Oh, look at that. That was actually really good. We almost one-shot that entire stage there. With Ikaku locking in. Hold on now. Not quite, but almost 40. 48. You know, not too bad then. Not too many resets to get a decent score. And let's see if we can maximize this phase a bit better if we don't take any damage. So, one thing that's worth noting too is that Tanjiro can actually inflict paralysis here. And he can actually inflict it even though we've already inflicted Ichibe with weakening plus right now. So there are going to be some times where Tanjiro gets a status proc, locks the enemy in place, and then we can just inflict weakening and then deal more damage, keep your team safe. It's rare for that to happen, but it sometimes does. Like right now, for example, we inflicted the weakening, and Tanjiro actually already inflicted the status augment paralysis. So when it comes to guild quests, he is right now the best character for this phase, like I already did mention. Capable of getting the fastest clear times upwards to 50 seconds at 1 out of 5. And then when you have him 2 out of 5, 3 out of 5, and any more dupes, you're looking at potentially 53. I think I've even seen 54, maybe 55 second clear times at max transcendence. which obviously is in line with a lot of other characters. He might not be able to clear as fast as 9th anniversary Kenpachi, but that is honestly perfectly fine because he's not competing against Kenpachi, right? He's competing against Shinji and also Macy, and he's able to clear faster than them. Albeit at the same time though, Shinji also does put up a good fight. He's able to clear relatively similar clear times. But with that said, that's the video today showcasing the brand new Full Holo Ichigo, VASTO LORDE ICHIGO, an overall solid character. Like we've already said earlier in the video too, you know, he does have a flaw to a certain extent, and that is the lack of Berserker, which, you know, if he didn't have a wasted skill with Diminisher, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But it's the fact that he does have this Diminisher skill, you know, that could have been strong attack damage, and he would have been a lot better. I think he's fine the way he is now. You know, he has some really good stuff going for him. The strong attacks that he does have are great. It's a playable spiritual pressure, full holo character with an EX skill, weakening plus a very powerful soul bomb. Like I said earlier in the video, had he been the same level of 9th Annie characters, I would not have complained that I would have been more excited, more happy than I am already right now. At the same time though, he could have been a very similar character to VASTO Ichigo, that is basically just a farmer that you don't even use. So the way I feel about this character right now is that it could have been better, but it also could have been significantly worse. Overall, I'm satisfied with the unit. Despite maybe that one flaw, the lack of strong attack damage, I think he's going to be fine, especially with the idea that he is a premium character and someone that hopefully we will get dupes later down the line. Overall, all I wanted was a playable full holo character that was actually good, and we essentially got that with this unit. I really like the artwork, I really like this character, and honestly, I'm pretty happy. Let me know what you like to think about the character in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care, and peace.